Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Urchakodash. Double honor to the apostles, to the elders at Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutation to the elect of the nation of Israel. To you I say Shalom. This is Isaiah 47, verse 6. I was wroth with my people. I've polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand. Thou didst shew them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. So when you read the NLT, it says, For I was angry with my chosen people, and punished them by letting them fall into your hands. But you, Babylon, showed them no mercy. You oppressed even the elderly. This is going into how the Lord made us subject to Esau, Edom. And Esau ended up polluting the Lord's inheritance. Esau showed no mercy. And it talks about the yoke, which that goes into oppression. And it says the ancient. That's going into the elderly. That's why it says in the New Living Translation, it says, you oppress even the elderly. But yes, the Lord was angry with his people because we have sinned against our power over and over again. Okay? And the Lord have us in this final captivity under the so-called white man who is Esau, Edom. The wicked are in rulership right now. This is verse 7. And thou says, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. The NLT says, you said, I will reign forever as queen of the world. You did not reflect on your actions or think about their consequences. Right, it says lady forever, so in their mind, they thought they will never get touched or be brought down from their rulership. And that's the mindset of Esau, Edom. These Edomites, you so-called white people, that's the mindset of you people. You think you just want to rule forever and ever. You think nobody's going to take you out of power. You see? So yeah, it says what? You did not reflect on your actions or think about their consequences. That's right. Esau did not reflect on their actions they did to Jacob. Not at all. They actually forward the affliction. But yeah, it says Isaiah 47, verse 8. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. Given to pleasures, right? Because this is a pleasure, loving kingdom. People go after the pleasures here. They go after their appetites here. They go after their lust and flesh here, carelessly, without thought. Yeah, these people even when they walk across the street with their phones in their hands, without looking, side to side to see if cars coming. These people are careless the way they operate, in society. You can just tell they just think they always safe here in America. You know, but people are not safe here. You know, it says I am and none else beside me. Right. So they think they're not gonna suffer loss. They think no one's on their level. That's their mindset. They think they're not gonna suffer pain or grief. Esau, Edom, they believe that their house is gonna continue forever. That's their their pride kicking in. What's that? I believe that's Psalms, 50, 55? But the scriptures talk about, they think their house is going to continue forever. I'm trying to find the scripture. Psalms 49, verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Right? That's the mindset of Esau, Edom. They just think they're just going to rule forever. Okay? Calling lands after their own names, like America Vespucci, Amerigo Vespucci. That's his name, I believe. And you got Africa, Scipio Africanus. Then you got Asia, Asiaticus. These so-called white people, so-called white men, these Edomites, calling different lands after their names. Let's go back to Isaiah 47. Verse 9 says, well, these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. Right? So it says, in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, in their perfection, going into it signifying the completeness of the destruction the Lord will bring to Babylon. That's why it says in their perfection. So the destruction going to be brought to Babylon the Great. And it's signifying the complete destruction, completeness. Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, and thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Right? So, Esau, Edom, they are secure in their wickedness, and their wicked plans, and their wicked systems. All right? It says what? It hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Right? It perverted thee. It caused them to go astray to the point They be challenging the Most High. Who? Esau, Edom. Which they've been crooked. They was made crooked. But they're so wicked. They just continuing their wickedness nonstop to the point they challenge the Most High. Because Esau, Edom, he thinks he's a god. He has a god complex. Verse 11. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Right? Bad times, plagues, destruction, judgment shall befall Babylon the Great. The NLT says, so disaster will overtake you, and you won't be able to charm it away. Calamity will fall upon you, and you won't be able to buy your way out. A catastrophe will strike you suddenly, one for which you are not prepared. That's right. That's right, man. That's right, man. So, Babylon the Great will be destroyed by nuclear missiles and by the chariots. Okay, the so-called UFOs are the chariots of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. This place is through. Okay, Isaiah 47 is a very beautiful chapter. You know. So this lesson was from Isaiah 47, verse 6 through 11. Shalom.